The Matrix Radio Vision Live with DWI, live from the BXNY.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for another Wednesday, and we live at Times Square, y'all.
What?
We done blew the fuck up, though, right?
Mama, we made it.
We made it. We got Italian marble and everything. Yes, but none of that compares to the legendary icon, Mr. Ralph McDaniels himself.
Yeah. What's up?
Yes.
Glad to be here. Glad to be in the new spot with you.
Yes, I'm glad that you the first guest in Times Square.
It's only right.
It's only right we do it this big. Yes, we flashing lights. Yeah. So, I mean, it's so much that I want to talk to you about your whole life career. You know,
we don't have that much time.
I know, right? But I'm gonna try to condense it. I know you went to college for film and video. Yeah. But what made you want to pick that as your major, your go-to?
I was going to school. I didn't know what I was going to do. I went to LaGuardia Community College in Queens. It's a 2-year school. And then I had an internship, and it was working at a TV station. And I was like, yo, this is fly. I want to do this. Mm-hmm. And so part of it was you had to get your 4-year degree in communications. So I said, all right. So I went to New York Institute of Technology, stayed doing the internship program, eventually got to the station, Channel 31, which is where we started Video Music Box at. But that was the plan. You know, it felt like I was a DJ in the parks. Like, I'm from back in the days plugging into light poles and all of that kind of stuff, you know, early, you know, almost before hip-hop, you know, before they said the word hip-hop, it was just rap, you know. And so then when that came about, it was like, oh, all right, let's roll with this. And we started airing a couple of videos. People didn't even know what videos were. You know, this is before MTV and all of that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You know, this is early. You know, nobody was doing what we was doing. And I started connecting with a couple of my friends, like, you know, like Russell Simmons. He was a promoter. He used to hire me to DJ. Cats like Lovebug Starsky, I started to meet from uptown in Harlem, the early guys that was doing it. DJ Hollywood, you know, and then I started hearing about Herc and Flash in the Bronx. And I was like, yo, let's go see what's going on. Because I'm from Brooklyn. We don't really, Brooklyn and the Bronx, we don't really mix like that back then. Yeah. You know, I was like, nah, we don't mess with
it's still like that.
Yeah.
Because Brooklyn keep on taking it. Like, I mean,
no, we good. That's just a myth.
No, it's not.
So, well, me and Kaz always jump. You mentioned, before we got on the air, you mentioned Grandmaster Cat. Yeah. And me and Kaz always laugh about that. It was like, I wasn't coming to the Bronx, and Kaz said, I wasn't coming to Brooklyn to see your ass anyway, Rob. But it's all like that. It's all good.
So I remember T. Smith once said that videography is the unheard of element as far as hip hop. You know, you have breakdance, you have DJing, you have the rap, but nobody really recognizes the video. Would you say you was the first one to really put that element in as far as hip hop?
Yeah, on a regular, you know, like there was cats that was doing it, like shooting stuff in the early days. Like, I remember when we used to go to like once you were in like the scene, then you would hear about different parties that were going on in downtown Manhattan, like in the Village. And then you would come across people that had cameras, or they might have a studio, or there was all kind of stuff going on that you never saw before in Brooklyn and in the Bronx. But now people had cameras and all kind of stuff, and they were shooting stuff. So there was some people that shot some stuff before I did, but they didn't do it as a show. They just was like, it was just fun to them. You know, they had equipment. You know, me, once I got it, I was like, nah, we're gonna do this every day after school. We're gonna play the videos. I'm gonna go find, you know, Run DMC. I'm gonna go find Rakim. I'm gonna find these cats, and we're gonna interview them, because nobody has seen these people prior to this. You just might have heard them on the radio late at night, but you might, unless it was on like an album cover or something, you never saw these people talking in the flesh, you know, like for real. And so I would like, I gotta get them on my show, so that when people turn on my show and then they be like, yo, this is Rakim, and I'm hanging out with Ralph, and then people like, whoa, that was crazy. I never saw Rakim talk, other than I heard him rap, but talk like in normal language.
Exactly.
You know, so that was a big deal for everybody, and not just in hip hop. You know, house music. I'm from Brooklyn, so I had to go. I got mad, you know, Caribbean people that I roll with. You know, my family's from Trinidad, so I knew every DJ. I knew every reggae spot. You know, whatever it was, we was up in there, and so we would bring even those cats from the underground to our show, and people would get excited about it. And then we started I started directing videos with my partner, the vid kid Lionel, and that's when it really jumped off, because
What video did you direct?
We did like mad videos. We did like, I've done over 400 videos.
What was the first one that kicked it off?
The first one was Roxanne Shante.
Wow. Shout out to Roxanne
Yeah.
Shante. Queensbridge in the building.
I was always under the impression it was Nas. Was the first video you shot? But
Nah,
Roxanne?
that was later. I did mad videos before I got to Nas.
Oh, you
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
You late.
I mean, that's why we're here. We got to talk.
We did the Shante video, my partner Lionel and I. Then we did a couple other like them freestyle type videos, and then we started doing all the Biz Marquis videos, like you got what I need, just a friend,
The Vapors?
the Vapors,
And of course,
that's
that does
my
make
show.
sense
Yeah.
because Roxanne Shante and Biz Marquis had a very close relationship back then. They still
Cold
do,
chilling.
but like even then, you know.
all the Big Daddy Kane, all the Cool G rap stuff.
Word?
Yeah. Who else? I mean, you could just go on for the Guy, Velvet DeVoe, the whole album,
Yeah.
Poison, all of that stuff. Boys to
on
Men,
my
whole
mind
album.
right now.
TLC, whole album.
Wow.
Nas then comes around.
Here comes Nas.
Then come
Wu-Tang
Nas.
then
Yeah.
comes,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. But we wanted to. The key to me was the visuals. We wanted our people to look good. We wanted the right lighting. We wanted us to feel like concepts that we might really want to come up with, not just the same old, standing in front of the bodega type videos.
Yeah.
And so the name of our company was called Classic Concept. And we hired, a lot of black people that wasn't getting jobs, and hired a lot of, like the early makeup people, the stylists, whoever, the lighting dude. It was all our people. So when people showed up on our set, they was like, yo, I didn't know there was this many black people that work in the film. I was like, no doubt. They just wasn't getting a shot before. But
So traditionally,
yeah.
before that, it was what, like,
It was more like a union thing, and the union is Italians and Irish, and it's just the way it was. So we were like, all right, no problem. We're going to just do our thing. Because already we was hip-hop, so nobody wanted us anyway. So that was good.
yeah.
Fine.
That was filling the
We'll
void.
do our thing over here. Nobody's paying us no mind until hip-hop started making money.
Yeah, now everybody want to come
Now
back.
everybody, yeah, because he made it. Ralph McDaniels made it look good. That's what happened with it. Yeah. So you was doing videos and all this other stuff. Did that idea came to you solely, or it was a collaboration with you and maybe somebody close to you?
No, my partner Lionel Martin. Everything that I did, me and him grew up in Queens. I'm originally from Brooklyn, then I moved to Queens. That's where I met Russell Simmons. And then I met Lionel. I used to work in the store putting the newspaper together on Sunday mornings.
Yeah.
And Lionel, I didn't work there. My father owned the store. And so Lionel used to come and buy the paper for his father. And I was like, what you into? And what you into? And he was like, records. I said, yeah, word, I got records too. And so we start kicking and then we go record shopping. Back in the days, you go buy vinyl. And we would go shopping and go like, oh, you heard this, you heard that. And that's how we connected on the music. And then from there, I started working at the TV station when I went to school. And he was like, well, what is that all about? I said, yo, it's just like how we be DJing, except it's visual. We just mix in visuals now instead of just sound. So he was like, oh, okay. I said, you should come see what's going on. He came through. He was like, is this dope? I said, we could do whatever. We got it. Nobody's paying us no mind. Nobody was, nobody cared. He was like, it's hip hop. We don't know nothing about this.
Yeah,
Nobody
they thought it was a fad back
They thought
then.
it was a
right?
fad.
Yeah.
And speaking of like something, you being at the beginning of the culture and really showing it to the world, I know a lot of record labels, such like Def Jam, was coming to you to break out their artists, because I'm pretty sure the major industry was ignoring the talent, especially fresh talent. Would you say you was responsible for people's careers or
no doubt.
people?
These dudes in the early days, they didn't know nothing about being in front of, even doing this, like talking on the mic. They was coming right off the block, and they got a hit in the studios. They went and hit the studio. Then they all of a sudden, I mean, when you saw Run DMC, by the time that came about, that's around the time Video Music Box started. Run DMC looked like they just stepped off the block onto the album cover, onto the stage, into the video. They didn't look like like, you know, flashing them. It was different.
Yeah.
The look was more like Rick James, you know, Earth, Wind and Fire for that, because that's what Flash and them grew up on. They saw that. So if you was an entertainer, you looked more like that. By the time it gets to Run DMC, Eric B. and Rakim, you know, Slick Rick, you know, the chains is the only flashy part, and you know, Rick was overboard back then with the chains, and so the vibe was different, and we wanted to be part of that vibe, because, you know, I looked at it like this is something new, and the energy is hot, and we can really ride out on this if we get the right visuals. And we wanted to make most importantly, I didn't want to make my people look bad. I wanted to make my people look good. That was the key for me. Fly, you know, whatever, you know, clean, you know, we wanted the right lighting, you know, that kind of thing. Like, nah, this shit gotta look good, because I always looked at it like, and no disrespect to nobody, but there's another dude, a white dude, that's sitting on the side. He really don't know nothing about it, but he's studying me, and he's gonna show up one day and say, I could do that. But I gotta be way ahead of him by the time he gets here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Who idea was it to go into clubs and actually start shooting the club scenes and the parties?
That was me. One day we did a shoot in the Roxy, which was like one of them clubs downtown, and the Roxy was a skating ring on Sunday nights, and then it was a club, like, you know, they would just not skate, and it would just be regular club. And so we were there one night, and we shot, and people were just doing that. I said, yo, you want to do a shout out? So I was the first person.
So you was the king
Yeah,
of the shot.
thank you. That was my.
That's what I was leading up to. You got go ahead. Yeah.
And to make it, you know, like big. I'm, you know, like I feel like, because sometimes we said, did we start that?
Yes,
and I was like, I don't remember anybody saying that before me to that level. And I said, yeah, well, you know, and I remember somebody said, well, Mr. Magic, I said, no, Mr. Magic told me that, yo, you really made that shout out official. So.
Was it something like y'all was already doing back then? Like, I want to give a shout out.
Somebody,
or no?
I think somebody said it.
Okay.
Like somebody in the crowd said it. Y'all want to shout out my people. And we were like, yeah. And then from there, yo, you want to do a shout out? You want to do it?
Some shout outs
every
ratchet.
week.
It be girls in there shouting out their baby fathers locked down while they grinding on the person in the club. I shout out my baby daddy. I miss you, boo. And she grinding on somebody in there. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah, you told me you was home. I said, you lying.
And it was so it was so raw. Like, you would see the party going on, and you walking around with your mic, and you just here you go, giving anybody the opportunity.
Well, that was the thing too, is that anybody had the opportunity. Now they the stars, just like the artist is the stars. Now everybody's a star. Now everybody's watching because they want to see. Well, am I going? Because he was at the club I was at, so let me see if he gonna play it on Saturday. And they sitting at home. Yo, you ain't playing, son? No, he's gonna be on next week. Oh, okay. So they'll wait.
Is that annoying though? I know you get that a lot. Like, people be like, when's the show coming out and stuff
that's
like
how
that.
It is. You know, people will get excited. You know, that's what we signed up for when we started doing this. You know, that's part of your responsibility.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to be on TV. I just wanted to talk. Like, I really wanted it to be like a radio show. Like, you just hear my voice and you see the videos playing. I didn't want to be a star. I didn't want to be. I remember one time, the first time after I did the thing on the TV in the clubs and stuff, and I'm in Brooklyn. I live in Flatbush at the time, and I'm on the 2 train or 1 train, whatever train was, and I first stop. So it's a long way till you get to Manhattan. I live at the last stop, the junction, and so, boom, get on the junction, like 2 stops later, like 4 or 5 cats get on, and they just grilling me, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna happen. When's it gonna happen? Something's about to happen.
Yeah.
And they like, you know, I'm like this, like, all right, whatever. So, like, I don't want to punk out and get off, so I'm like trying to ride it out, like, let's ride it out, bro. And nothing happened. By the time I got to Manhattan, I'm getting ready. I kind of forgot about it because more people on the train now. I'm getting ready to get off. So the dude that was grilling me hard is like, yo, you dude on TV, son? And I was like this, like, yeah.
And what happened?
He's like, yo, we like that shit, son. We like that. I was like,
New York for you, man.
yeah, man, why you ain't say that like 10 stops ago, man? Why we had to go to
Right?
You probably had to make sure. Like,
right, but
Just smile and say hi. That's all you got to do. You know?
the train back in the days in New York, remember the train graffiti everywhere?
Yeah, I know.
85.
Oh, man, people smoking weed in the last car and all that.
That's the middle of the crack era
Right.
and shit.
It's
So
it's hard.
Yes.
And then you had skits on the show too, like with Crazy Sam and everything.
Yeah.
Like what brought that about?
Well, Crazy Sam, anybody who knows Crazy Sam is really crazy. And he's got legendary stories, not just on my show, just in Harlem alone, that people will go like, was you there tonight that Crazy Sam, you know? And I was like, no, I wasn't there, but I heard about it. And so Crazy Sam, he used to like to do comedy too. And so I went to the comedy show, and his comedy shows was like wild. It was like people, you know, jumping up and, you know, rapping, and then it was this, and then it was that. Then he might do some comedy, then he would stop, then he would give everybody chicken, buy everybody chicken, and then he would come back, and then he'd have some girls up there dancing like Luke, and you know, and I'd be like, what is this, bro? And he said, I don't know, we're just having fun, you know. And so one day I went and I looked at it, and this girl that worked with me was like, you got it, you know, I want you to really look at what he's doing. So I said, all right, look, I'm gonna give you a camera, bro, for a week, and go out and do whatever it is you want to do. I'm gonna give you the camera, dude. I'll pay him. You go out and shoot whatever you want, and come back to me with what you got. And he came back, and it was hours and hours and hours and hours of skits, doing them over. So I said, all right. So I started looking at them, and then I started just cutting them down to little 2-minute pieces, 1-minute pieces, and you know, like Billy Strongboy. Billy was supposed to be, you know, like this little special, and he was like, you know, he was, you know, like he was strong. So anytime somebody tried to stop him from doing something, they'd be like, "Come on, Billy, go to school." He's like, "Oh," and so he's like, we knew a kid like that for real, and so we had him. He was a character. Olga was this lady who used to sit up on the bench and talk about everybody's business. You know, Miss Olga, Spanish lady.
Did you brainstorm with them to come up with these characters, or they
this
came?
Was all him. This was all Sam. He was to come up with, like, you know. They changed the words to songs, you know, Jodeci, you know, what was it? So you swallowed my baby.
They was doing parodies. They was doing parodies.
Yeah, and so they would change.
Like something like We're Out Yankovic used to do. Yeah.
Exactly. So we thought that was great, and then he ran with it. And his show on Thursday, because we were on every day, so his show on Thursday was off the hook. The ratings was off the hook because they knew that he was going to do something crazy. Yeah. You know, and if he did an interview with somebody, it was not going to be like my interview at all. Not at all.
So you was giving people different elements of hip hop, of the culture. So what made you go to public access? Because was it because you was creating your own avenue, or you was being denied a spot in the industry?
No, we that's where I started, because that's where I came out of college from, same station. And they just would let me be creative and doing whatever I want. Like, we wouldn't do that. What I just described.
Yeah, the FCC would be
they
shout out. What's a shout out?
Nobody was paying attention to what we were doing, and I was fine with me, because this way we could do our own thing and develop it. And then I think in '86, you know, I could tell that, you know, hip hop was becoming more commercial, and sales was starting to, you know, get up. And then we also aired a concert called the Fresh Fest. There's a documentary that's gonna come out soon on the Fresh Fest, and the Fresh Fest was like the first hip hop tour, and I went and I saw all different types of people: Asian, Latino, Black, you know, you name it, everybody was there. Indian, and I was like, and they all knew the words, and they all had on Adidas, and they all was fresh, and I was like this, like, so this is for everybody. It's here. It's crossed over. So I was like, okay, now my friend, this guy I knew, he started working at MTV, this white dude. It's perfect. So, yo, go to MTV. I'm gonna speak to my man. He's over there now. We're gonna go do the show on MTV. I went to MTV. They was like, nah, Middle America's not ready.
I was just about to ask you that. Like, when hip hop started becoming mainstream, when it started with MTV and even to BET, did anybody try to contact you? Because you know, a lot of stuff that they're doing now is
it's
you
all,
already
we
doing.
already set the blueprint for it.
Yeah.
To me, I always felt like, you know, it was like we had so much control over it, and not like that's what I started out to do. It's just that we got love. We showed love, and we got love back. You know, like I could call up somebody and say, yo, can you do a show with us? And like, yeah, nah, Ralph, my man, no problem. And all of a sudden, you know, 1,000, 2,000 people's in the spot, and they be like, this dude got too much power. Black man has too much power. We got to calm that down a little bit. So I was like, MTV, I think y'all are wrong. I know what's happening. It's not just black people. It's white kids in Jersey and Long Island, upstate. They enjoy this, and it's time to do a hip hop show. And they were like, no, we don't want to do it. So I said, all right. So then in 1987, a year later, is when they came with Yo MTV Raps.
I was just about to
And-
ask.
Coincidence.
I was just about to ask.
Well, people were like, "Yo, are you pissed off? That's you,
I was
man."
about to ask that. Did you feel some type of way when you saw
I
Fat
didn't.
Five Freddy and all of that?
Yeah, I didn't. I knew Ed, and I just kind of met Dre, but I knew Ed from my neighborhood in Queens. We both grew up in the same area, and I didn't feel bad. At that time I'm directing a lot of videos, so I was like, okay, so now the videos that we make are also going to play on this MTV hip hop show. So we're going to get national publicity. So now people everywhere will be able to see what we're doing in one shot.
So it was kind of like your show, but because you was getting your video
Yeah.
show.
But I was like, more importantly, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than whatever I'm doing. It's an opportunity for hip hop to go even further. Now that MTV, I would love to have been. Yeah, I want to be the guy, but I knew whatever it was gonna happen was gonna happen. I was making money. I ain't gonna front. We was making good money doing videos, more than I ever thought I would. At that time, we was, it wasn't $1 million budgets like Hype Williams had. My Hype is my assistant at the time.
Wow.
So
I didn't even know that.
yeah, Hype. I used to pick Hype.
Shout out to Hype Williams.
Yeah, I used to pick him up. He lived in Linden Boulevard in Queens. I'd go pick him up, and he would come to the city with us. And and every once in a while he'd be like, "I want to direct a video," and I'm like, "All right, we're going. We'll get to that eventually." And then we started giving them a couple of videos, and then he started to go off on his own, and it was clear to me that he had the eye, And I was like, "Yo, do your thing, bro." And so he took off and started doing his thing. But my partner and I, Lionel, we gave a lot of people shots. A lot of people came through because there was nowhere else to go. There was nowhere else for a black director, a young kid who had an idea, or a young stylist, or a young, art director, or whoever, a sound guy. There was nowhere for you to go. You had to come through us. There was maybe Spike was the only place, and that was when Spike was making a movie, and that wasn't the easiest thing to do either. So it was you worked with Ralph on his videos. Every once in a while, Spike was doing a movie. You got shot. You worked with Spike. And that was it. There was a couple of video companies in between there, not saying that other video companies didn't exist, but we had a nice little run doing all those videos. So, and people knew he was gonna get paid and everything. Wasn't no problems. It was all good. And I think that the key to even now is the education. Is like we watched what other people did and how they made mistakes, and we were like, no, we're not gonna do that. Like even now, I sit back and I watch things that are happening in the music business now, and I go like, we can't make the same mistakes. You're not going to make this type of money that you're making now forever. It's not going to last. I've seen like a handful that have kept it, a handful out of thousands that have been there. So be aware that when you get that bread and you get that bag or whatever you want to call it, invest that money in the right money and stop, throwing money up. Like I go to clubs back in the day, and like not too long ago, I'd be like, "How they throwing money away? Like I don't get it. How we throwing money away now?"
Was they making it rain back then, like how they do now?
Yeah, it was, but it wasn't quite like that.
Okay.
It wasn't like
It was like $1 a piece.
Right. We were
Not
like,
just.
"Yeah, let me get $50.
You might get a quarter from me. You might get a quarter.
Can I get some change?"
You know what I'm saying? Let me break this 10 real fast. I got you, Ma. Hold on 1 second. Right.
So speaking of education, you have a project with the Queens Public Library.
Yeah, super important to me right now. I'm glad you asked. So I do I program to 65 libraries, 65 buildings in Queens, 60 really 60 that are active that we usually do programs in. And so we have like a DJ 101. We have how to dance choreography. Choreographer comes in, and people that have worked with top artists like Missy Elliott and whoever, and they come in and they show kids just how it is. Like, okay, we're gonna do this song today, and they'll work on the different routines and the different turns. And by the end of the class, okay, then they play the song and they do the whole routine. Like, and the kids feel like they on TV, like they learning, like they never thought that they could do all of those routines in one a one routine. So they do that. We have Graffiti 101, showing you how to get your name. What's your hip hop name?
J.I.G. 31.
Cha-cha Mestito. Yes.
I
want to come to that.
Yeah, so how you going to make your letters, how you going to write, all of that kind of thing. And that's the basic elements. We start off with, which is what hip hop culture is. We start off with the basic elements from the dancers, the b-boys, the b-girls, the MCs. We don't really do a lot of MC stuff, but we do have MCs come in and talk, the DJs and the art, the graffiti artists. And what we do is, what they say is the fifth element is the knowledge. Mm-hmm. And so we teach people, and talk about bettering yourself, how to publish your own book. A lot of self-published people out here doing their own thing. Kids could be doing this at home. They type so much on Instagram and whatever. You could have wrote a book already.
Yeah. Exactly. Would you also consider doing videography, teaching videography as well?
I've done a couple classes with that. Yeah, I've done a couple. We just recently had Corey Wise up from the Central Park. Exonerated 5.
Exactly.
And that was good because people got a chance to see him in person. And Jamaica, Queens is where we had Corey at. Is still tough out there. Far Rockaway, Jamaica, Queens, those areas are tough. And a lot of people could relate to his situation. And a lot of grandmothers come and at the Queens Library, not just in Queens but in other areas too. They have this thing called video visitation where you could go into the library in a room and you could talk to your loved ones on the screen, like almost like
that's dope.
Yeah, they do have that now.
Yeah.
I remember going to one of your events at the Queens Library, and you was showing us step by step the years of how videos changed and how it came to the public eye and stuff like that. Like you broke it down, but overall with the whole it's like you archiving the culture.
Yeah, that's important. We have to do that. Like even this, we archiving. You archiving right now. Mm-hmm. Like somebody goes, 50 years or 100 years from now, you may not even be here.
So how many tapes you got? Like how many? Is it like storage? Is it like houses full of stuff?
It's houses full.
Wow.
Houses full?
Jesus.
What are you doing with all this footage, Uncle Ralph?
Pretty much.
Is it like in chronicle order? Is it like
not
order?
Yet. It will be soon. We're still working on getting that, and we.
I want to see that and like I want to smell it. Like I know I'ma smell mad Jerry Curl from the beginning. Like I really want to really touch it. I feel like the spirits and the energy. I don't know.
The energy is there, and you know what, a lot of the documentaries that you see now. We are contributing producers to that. So like Wu-Tang Clan documentary, that's been out for a minute. It's on Showtime, it's running. But if you look at it, you'll actually see me in the interview and I'm in that space that you're talking about where all the tapes are at. Nas's documentary, Illmatic, that's a lot of my footage in that. The Tribe Called Quest, these are like really good documentaries to me. My footage is in that. There's a documentary out now called Hip Hop Songs That Changed the World. It's on AMC channel. A lot of people don't have AMC. That's like a premium channel. I was like, you seen it? They were like, I ain't got that on my Netflix. But that is done by Questlove of The Roots. He's the executive producer of that. And it's some great footage in there of different, Shantae's in it, Shan is in it, just different stories that you might not have seen in other situations.
Well, since we're talking about classic footage, and it is Jay-Z's birthday today, you have and it turns into a meme. Like everybody says that clip right was the beginning of the end of Rockefeller, because you trying to get these interviews and then you have Dame Dash and Memphis Bleek going ham like like if it's the black, and then you got Jay-Z standing there like if he was over it. Was it because it was a eventful day and maybe he was tired, or he was really over the Rockefeller? What was your opinion about that?
That happened right after the Michael Jackson performance, when he brought out Michael Jackson at Summer Jam. So I was right there, the Michael Jackson part, standing next to them. We leave the stage. We go in the locker room, because it was at Giant Stadium, so technically it was a locker room. We go in the room. We sit in the green room, whatever. everybody's in there. I said, yo, Jay, I gotta get this interview. You gotta talk to me about this, what just happened with Michael Jackson. So he was like, all right, give me a second. I'm gonna just chill for a second and then we're gonna do it. So I said, okay, fine. So we was chilling for way too long. And I'm like, yo, dog, you know. Plus I got other crew members, they waiting outside somewhere for me. My brother was with me. He had the camera. And so he's like, all right. So right before he get ready to do it, he goes, I'm not gonna talk. Let them talk. So I'm like, what are you talking about? I thought he was joking. I mean, Jay-Z, like, this is like not, you know, this is somebody I know from Brooklyn, from the street. So I'm like, this, like, whatever. I'm thinking he's joking. We start thinking, so tell me about what happened. So he goes, he points at Freeway. And he points at, and then Dame Dash is in the back. And he's like, Michael Jackson, motherfucker. And then, you know, and so I'm looking at him like, while this is all going, I keep looking back at Jay like, stop playing. And so, and he's like, I'm not gonna say nothing. So, but I'm tired. So I'm like, all right, I'm not playing either. I'm leaving after this. I'm going home, you know, because I got my camera guys, 2 other camera crews outside waiting for me. My brother's been sitting there with me for at least almost an hour. And so, whatever the case is, so what you see in the meme is Jay trying to like make like, Ralph, I'm not going to talk. I'm telling you, I'm not going to talk. So he's letting everybody else. I think Zab Judah was there. Zab was from around our way, and everybody, you know, we all sitting there, and I'm like, so I leave, and I'm like, I can't believe he just did that. But you know, boom, I went on about my business. Now, who knows that years later, this is like the ultimate Michael Jackson. And people kept asking me for do you have it when Michael Jackson, you know, was there at Summer Jam? I said, yeah, I got it. I got some of the footage when Michael Jackson came on stage, and I got Jay-Z. You got an interview with Jay-Z? So it's always weird to people that weren't there, that like, why is he acting like that? So I said, and then when I saw the memes, oh, this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
I mean, millions and millions of views, you know, later, and you like,
because it's hilarious, like his facial expression, and then, you know, Dame Dash is known for being over the top and you know, out of order, and then, you know, a lot of rumors stemming around the breakup. You know, he was trying to be more business, while, you know, Dame Dash was still into that irate element. You know, he's trying to Jay-Z's trying to grow from that. So that was like the perfect example that capture. See, perception is everything. But
it had nothing to do with anything. Any of them means that moment had nothing to do with that. None of that.
Okay, so we cleared that up here.
Now he tied. He
you
was
know
on
what I'm
his Brooklyn
saying?
beat. That's what
exactly.
Yeah. You know it was that. I think that it was like, what more can I say?
Good one.
Pun intended or no pun intended.
And I would like to send a shout out to Jay-Z though. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Hov.
Yeah, so going back to the Queens Library, one of the things that you are doing is the cipher statues.
Oh, yeah.
And so far you got Grandmaster Jay and you got Jam Master Jay, I'm sorry.
Jam Master Jay.
Yes, Prodigy and Phife Dawg from A Tribe Called Quest, and you got to say it together. It's one word. So, you know, what is the how do you get a statue? Do you have to be a fallen soldier of the culture?
Well, I didn't create that. That was a guy named Sherwin. He created the concept for a cipher in Queens, and he came to me and told me I was at a park in Queens, and he was going to do it there, and he was, you know, showing it to me like on you know, the drawing, and I was like, all right, that's dope. You know, I said, when you finish, let me see it, and then he created some mini versions of it. And then one day he says, "Dope! It's in the park, you know." And he just was a fan of those artists. He originally came from I want to say Jamaica, or Barbados, and he came here, and he was like, "Yo, you know, when I first came here, I watched video music and that's how I learned about these artists." And I said, "Okay." And he's like, Prodigy, Jam Master Jay, and Phife. Well, and Mobb Deep, Run DMC, and Tribe Called Quest. So I was like, all right. He says, I want to call this thing a Cipher in Queens, and we're going to dedicate it to these particular artists who passed away, who are from Queens as well. And that was it. It wasn't about getting another, you know, who's going to be next. That was it. But the things are 9 feet tall.
Yeah. And they play music, too.
And they play music.
Yeah.
Ours in the library you can use the wireless headphones, so you come in and you want to listen to Run DMC, you can go to one channel. You want to listen to Mobb Deep, and go to another channel.
That's fire.
The mixes are done by Mr. C, DJ Hurricane, and Rasta Roots, who was Phife Dawg's official DJ when Phife played out by himself. So it's been something. The thing about this is that nothing like this has ever been in a library in New York City or anywhere, to my knowledge. And this is changing the images. So the hip hop generation can now walk in and see something that is related to them. They may not know, the younger kids are like, who's that? They don't even know who Prodigy is. Some cases they don't know who Jam Master Jay. But at least now we can open a conversation so they can, learn more about that. So that's all I did, and I hope that, we see more of it. Like I've been, a part of the street name changing things, like, when they changed the street for Big. That was a long process of getting that done. There's a lot of people that really wanted to see that happen. A lot of people that didn't want to see that happen.
And they had to sign for it and everything
Yeah.
electronically.
Yeah.
And I think Phife Dawg.
Tribe.
Yeah,
Tribe.
there's a Tribe,
Dawg,
or
right.
I thought it was just him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know, and it's like a huge thing for that to happen. And it's kind of dope too, because I mean, you walk around the city, you walk around wherever, and you see statues of all these murderers, I guess you want to call it, and people in American history, and these people are actually a part of American culture. Like you said, you go around the world and you have people dressing like us, looking at like us, rapping like us, dancing like us, and it came from this right here, from watching you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's so amazing. One thing I do want to ask you, that we ask all of our guests all the time, but we're gonna, being that you're an interviewer and moderator and influencer, who was your top 5 best interviews of all time?
There's a lady that I tell it's one of my toughest interviews, one of the first interviews I did. Her name is Patrice Rushen. She's a jazz artist, but she made commercial records like in the 80s, mid 80s. And, I was like, okay, I'm thinking she's just a singer, like she came and she knew science of music and all. She was like a professor talking. I was like, yo, this lady's mad smart. I felt like way over my head in the interview. I'm asking her like, hey, so what was you doing at the club last night? She's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And so that was like, I learned from that was like, yo, don't just hear a record and assume that that's the person, that the person is like that. Or don't just look at somebody and think that that's how they are. Because this woman was a super jazz musician, way advanced, mad science of music and all kind of stuff like that. Still to this day plays. Look up. You'll hear the records that she made and you'll realize, oh, okay. And because hip hop sampled her for days, So that was one. I interviewed Bill Clinton before at the Democratic Convention. That was
You think he was just trying to sell an image as opposed to actually being for people
I think
of
he
color?
believed in his mind that he was. I think he believed it, but the Democrats, you gotta look at.
I'm hit you with the Jay-Z face.
Yeah, but you gotta look at it like this. All of these people are being run by the Democratic committee. The Republicans have their people, and okay, if you're going along with the plan, this is how we're doing it. And as long as you go along with the plan, we'll support you. And that's what he did. And Clinton had the look. People liked him. It was like Kennedy. They liked him. Oh man, we love Kennedy. Black people love Kennedy. They would have voted for Kennedy over another black person. That's how much they love Kennedy. And the same thing with Clinton. They loved Clinton. They was like, man, Clinton can't do nothing wrong. And if black people love you, that's who you gonna win. Now, did we know what the Clintons did against us? And but you still to this day, there's people like, no, that's not true. You tell some old sister up on 125th Street right now, boy, stop.
You just hating. That ain't true. Yeah.
You know how many people went to jail behind the laws that they allowed to happen?
Yeah.
Still locked
What's
up to
happening
this
in
day.
Haiti? But people don't look, at all of this stuff. They just won't believe it because they just believe whatever. Sometimes people tell me, well, did you heard about this? And I said, where did you read it? And it was on Instagram. I said, bro.
Yeah. You can't
Ain't no fact-checking on
condense
Instagram.
your knowledge to sound bites and 30 characters. I really feel like people really need to do their research, and that's what's lacking today.
Right.
So who's your number 3?
Number 3, number 3, Rakim. Yeah, the guy.
Yeah.
You know, reminds me a lot of myself. We come up, you know, humble cats, but you know, could hold it down, be around crazies. I have a lot of crazies around me when I grow. I was like, they were like, "Those are your friends?" I was like, "Yeah, we live on the same block. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's my friends, you know."
And
like,
that must have been crazy growing up and seeing all that live.
Yeah. Who else?
Wow.
Number 4. I think that it's probably on the reggae side. I like reggae music.
Okay.
So I'm a big fan of like Shaba and Supercat.
Okay.
Supercat is my man.
Yeah, I like Supercat too.
Yeah,
Dolly,
Supercat
Dolly,
is my
Dolly.
man. Yeah, and I did a couple of videos for him, directed a couple of videos with him, and he was just such a cool guy, and took you to the most gully spots. And you know, like, yo, Ralph, where we going right now? Nobody else could go but me and you.
Shout out to Supercat. Yes. And number 5.
5. I'm gonna say Dr. Dre. Yeah.
Why Dr. Dre?
Just because I didn't do a lot of stuff on the West Coast,
Okay.
so when I got the opportunity to do it, probably him and Ice-T, you know, because Ice-T back then, you know, it's not like, you know, you saw Ice-T in New York, even though he, you know, was in New York a lot, but he just wasn't, you know, you always associate him with the West Coast. So when I got the opportunity to meet, man, he knew everything about me. Like, he was like, yo, I know, I got it on VHS. I got mad VHS of your stuff, and when I went to the West Coast, everybody had VHSs of video music about. I was like, where you getting these from? And they were like, bro, people come out and bring them, and that's how we get them. In the Army, they were selling them in Germany and Japan, and, you know, like, it was like the Bible to hip-hop.
I mean, it is. You know, it is. I really wanted to wait to make this emotional speech at the end or whatever. Just listening to you talk is. Oh, well, before we get to that, I just want to ask. You know, they teaching a lot in hip hop in colleges now. You have Kid. I do believe it's Kid, or is it Play?
No,
Play. You have Play teaching at college hip hop. You have, you know, guest artists coming there.
Like Wonder.
Yeah.
Nas got Harvard.
Yeah.
Cornell got a hip hop program. USC, I think.
Do you think you could be a professor at one of these
no
top
doubt.
universities?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that? Is that what's
next? It wasn't
next?
really my thoughts when I first got into this, but I knew that. I looked at it like this, right? Queens Library is equivalent to that type of situation because we have 65 buildings. I never knew there were that many libraries in Queens or in Brooklyn, you know, or in the Bronx. I was like, there's 65? They were like, yeah. And then now that I work there, I drive and I'm like, oh shit, there goes another library. And I never paid attention to it. You know, I mean, a building. Not just like, you know, an office, you know, like a building.
Big, like, where was this at the whole time?
And he's such a changer, a game changer, because it's almost like what I'm seeing in my head as you speak. Forget a class. It's almost like you're building your own university with your own curriculum and everything.
And that's the key
Wow.
right there is the curriculum. We could do it and create something really cool. And I've done this. I spoke nationally to librarian. I'm not a librarian, but people are, you know, they go to school to be a librarian. And I've spoken to librarians in a national convention of librarians, and they like, how do you do this? Because we want to get our kids involved. And they're from Indiana, or they're from Phoenix, Arizona, or from Albany, and all these different places. And I tell them how I started it. And you could do the same thing, you know. And if you want, you know, I could come out there and show you how to set it up, you know, Cleveland, Ohio, all these different places, because libraries are not like, it's not like back in the days where you go in and you be quiet and you read your book and you study for whatever. Now it's like, it's popping. You know, we have stuff going on, music, there's a band playing and all kind. We have a room where you can be quiet at. But it's not like the old library because you could get whatever you want on your phone. So we had to switch it up.
Yeah.
Siri, can you?
Yeah. So libraries are different now. You know, people try to still be like, oh, shh, like, please, there's a room for that. Go over there. You know,
it's in the corner. Go in the
Oh, go home. Like, I mean, go home into your nice, dainty, boring ass room and, you know, eat some crumpets and toast. I don't know. But we don't want to be quiet. Hip hop is loud and in your face. And, you know, and I just, want to thank you
you're welcome.
for spending your life bringing it to the public eye, bringing it. I mean, it's just like nobody can thank you enough for it.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate like watching what y'all doing. That's how we connected.
Yeah.
You know, and
I was stalking him for like a few years. Every time I saw him, I was like, please come to the show. I beg you.
But I see what's going on. I'm paying attention to everybody, and I see the energy, and I felt it. And I was like, we're going to do it. I knew we was going to do it. I just knew we're going to do it. Don't worry. Even today, I was like, yesterday you was like, we moved down. I was like, oh, they downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, he's about to curve us again if we were still in the Bronx. Oh, man. Nah, Uncle Ralph.
Last year you celebrated 35 years Video Music Box, and you did a tour.
Yeah. He was
around. You did Coney Island. You even came to my neck of the woods, Spanish Harlem, to the Wall of Fame and everything like that. So, again, was it
born over there?
Yeah, I'm from Johnson.
Oh, okay.
But I live in Carver, and
that's where my wife's from, Carver.
Yeah. Well, I live in I don't want to say, but I live right there
over there
on 106.
Right,
yeah. So now I'm on 102nd. But anyway,
yep.
So I lived in Spanish Harlem, and I think Spanish Harlem is unsung. Like, we got so much talent and so much energy out there from artists, dancers, rappers, you name it, and I think right now we're starting to get pushed to the forefront on some levels, but I think it needs to be more, especially since we was talking about Grandmaster Cash, the hip hop tours, I think I posted a video of my son battling one of his b-boys or whatever, because hip hop is my family, like my kids and everything. So just to watch all of that, and then not only that, watch all the artists come together and do the performance, and the graffiti on the wall and everything. You know what I'm saying?
My man James Top is over there. He on 104th in Lex. He got a little gallery in the block.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. And they have the public access thing right there across the street, like a little So I was trying to check them out too before I even knew about a DSN. Like, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do or whatever. Yeah. So is there any regrets though? Because I mean, you had such a blessed life. Like, nobody, a lot of people will never see what you saw or speak to the people that you spoke to in your lifetime. And is there any regrets or things that you felt like you wish you could have did better, or any ideas that you didn't go through with?
I always say, I wish I moved faster on certain things. Sometimes, like
what?
Whatever, making a decision to go, if it was, we're going to do our own videos, and then we sat and waited for, a year and watched people doing it instead of just going out and doing it, because we didn't know. We didn't want to play ourselves. We didn't want to lose. Yeah. That fear will stop you from, doing things. And we were like, no, let's wait. We don't want to look crazy. And that like a year or two could go by. Then we go, all right, let's do it. And then it just kicked in. It's so easy. We're like, damn, why did we wait 2 years? We could have did this 2 years ago and been making this bread. We were starving 2 years ago. We could have been doing all right. Little things like that, but those start to add up over years. So you could, man, we might have lost 10 years just fucking around.
Mm-hmm. See, time waits for no man. Get it done, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the key. I mean, it's all in his time. But I think that, in my case, and I'm quick to admit it, is like, I was fearful of certain things. I didn't want to lose. We trying to hold on to what we got. Like, what do you really have, though, bro? Just throw it out there. Let's go for it. And that's the key. Look, I've seen people do and roll the dice on everything and lose everything. So I said, I ain't doing that. I can't work too hard. We're gonna be a little bit more conservative, and sometimes we might have been too conservative, but we got through it and I'm still here.
I was just about to say that, because I mean, even though you say sometimes you wish you never waited so long, but I don't see a lot of media people.
Not from back then. That's black owned.
Yeah, that's black owned.
Forget about black owned. We own everything. When somebody calls me, I don't give a damn if it's Jay-Z, if it's whoever. Jay's gonna go, okay, Ralph, I need to get this, and I know I gotta pay you for it. How much? Or if it's, whoever, you name it, that's out there. And that's what I try to teach to people. Like, own your thing, have some stake in it, because you're gonna get to my age now, where I'm not running out here trying to, be at every event. you know, every red carpet thing. I ain't got, you know, like I can't do that. And I'm tired, bro. I'm going home.
I done did it. I showed you how to do it already.
But at least I got something that I can be like, okay, they need footage for this. Boom, send it that. Here's the hit it, send the check. You know.
With the footage, why not start your own network, like your own channel? You'll crush everything.
I think that was the original idea of Video Music Box. Yeah. We never were like a show. We always were like, okay, there's Video Music Box and there's MTV. MTV just happens to have a channel. Yeah. How do we get a channel? That's what we wanted, but it wasn't easy, and especially if you didn't have the right color. They wasn't just giving you. The only reason why it was a breakthrough for BET to get it, for Bob Johnson to get it, but that was years later, you know. And Bob Johnson was a Wall Street guy who knew how to raise money. I'm just a dude. But I didn't know anything about that kind of, you know, raising money and all of that kind of thing. He came in the game. He wanted to own an airline. Like this was just a stepping stone to get to the airlines. You know, that's what he was going to do. You know, I didn't know nobody like that. That thought that big. You know, like I knew Russell. He was like, yo, I'm gonna get my own record company. Maybe that was a big deal. Like, how is it possible? I see you every day. How are you gonna have a record company? You know, I remember Russell taking us to the. Okay, this is the story. We at a jam in the park, and Russell brings me a record, you know, and it was like a white label, didn't have no name on it. And he said, yo, this is dope. And he said, they rhyming on "Love is the Message" on this. You know, love is a classic message. So I said, well, why would they do that? Why would you sell this? And he was like, what do you mean? I said, we do this in the park every day. Why would you put it on a record? And so he was like, everybody's not coming to the park. And I was like, oh. And I remembered that for the rest of my life. But I didn't see it nowhere past the block then. All I thought about was what we do in this park. I knew some other dudes was doing it over here. I knew they was doing it in the Bronx. I knew that some other cats was doing it over here. It wasn't possible that this could be playing on the radio, playing on DSN, on Video Music Box, on MTV. I didn't even imagine that it could ever be that big. But here we are.
So you got the Queens Library. Do you have any ideas of what's next? I mean, you've done it all. I mean, as a fan of yours, I don't even want you to do anything. I just, you know, want to see you from time to time. But like, I know incredible minds never stop thinking.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do some more stuff. We have some other things, you know, like the channel is something that technology runs the business now. That's who runs it. You know, the streaming companies, whoever's giving you the bandwidth, that's who runs it. Back in the days, it was the record companies. Now it's the same people, but they just switched it up and then they run technology now, and it's more like, you know, the Zuckerbergs and people like that. So we have to develop relationships with those people. Now we have to have good relationships with those. So we're developing those type of relationships with those type of companies. So anything moving digitally anywhere, we can have some type of piece in it. You know, if it's a video game, you know, there's a lot of sounds and things in video games. You know, we want to be able to, when you're watching, you know, whatever, Fortnite, this kid goes in the room and his mom is watching Video Music Box. I would love to see that. You know, all those little things, because so many people watch it, all of a sudden there's like millions of dollars because there's that many people involved in it. So we have a relationship with technology companies that we're developing. We have a relationship with those universities that you talked about, where you can be able to plug in and go to, you know, a classic, or let's go to the 80s, or let's go to the 90s, and kids in Harvard or wherever they want to study certain things can look at it and get certain transcripts and listen to people talking live.
And I think that's important, especially with the upcoming generations. You know, everybody's into Chief Keefs and all these other, you know, people, and they be like, is a lot of times I talk, you know, and I be like, oh, I just was listening, or I just was, you know, who's that? And I'm looking at them with the stuck face, like, who's your parents? Like, your parents didn't listen to music at least? I know you young, but goddamn, like, really, you know, you didn't have no grandmothers, no aunts, uncles in the household. Like, where was your family? Like, how you just started from 2000s and all of that. So, I mean, even with that being said, what was your favorite era? Because, I mean, you've
90s.
seen it all. The 90s.
90s.
What Flashy Suit P. Diddy 90s? Or like
Wu-Tang, Nas, Biggie.
Like, so like 93 and all of that.
Street
94.
Corner.
Yeah, that's
Campbell's
my
Lodge.
favorite era. Yeah,
because
Smith
I
and
felt like
Wesson.
that was more. It was like you talked about the crack era. Like it was authentic what was going on at that time. Like you knew cats that was out there on that corner for hours. Like, damn, son is still out there, but he was getting that bread, And then all of a sudden you start to see what he was doing. He started to make moves, and then you hear it in the records. You listen to to Hove, you listening to Fat Joe.
And you listen to stories.
Yeah, stories. So I always thought that, and I liked doing those music videos at that time too because it was like real. It wasn't like I had to make it up.
So the guns in the music videos, was those real? Because we get on the kids now.
Well, you know what?
Because we get on the kids now for flashing guns on the Instagram and everything now, but they was in the music videos back then.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't real. But I have done videos with some lower, artists. Not I shouldn't say lower, but more underground artists that they believed that it was real guns in the video. Yeah. And I remember we was doing this video on Southside Queens, and LF fam, like LB fam. Everything was L something, and we was and I was like, these guys that we met, and they were like, yo, we want you to do a video for it. And I was like, all right, no problem. So I said, look, I need to get, some money. So they were like, cash, boom, and when you come there throughout the day, by the end of the day, you're going to get the whole money. It was like 20 grand. So every 5 minutes.
How much for a video?
Back then, it was 20 grand.
Oh.
And,
And look at the legendary stuff that come out of 20 grand. Y'all want to pay millions of dollars for fluff.
So throughout the day, they just coming from out the spot and giving me the money. And I'm like this, like, yo, like y'all got a bag or nothing, like literally, like, yo. I see, I'm standing out here. Ain't nobody gonna mess with you, Ralph. You out here with us. So I was like, so I'm directing, and I got like 15, 20 grand in my pocket, and I'm like this, like. I'm looking around like somebody looking to get me, yo. But at the end of the day, they wanted to do a shot with the guns. So I said, all right, no problem. So my man, Black Rat, that's what his name was, he was like, yo, you ready? Let's do this part with the guns. So I got my cameraman, we was working with a white dude that day, cameraman. And so he's like, okay, so how's it going to go? He said, we're going to come out to the thing, and then we all going to go like this. And it's like all pulled out all of their real guns. And we're like, into the camera. And the cameraman goes,
Right? I'd have been scared too.
It starts yelling.
Crazy.
I was like, yo, put the guns down, put the guns down, put the guns down, put the guns down.
Right? Chill.
And I was like, all right, we have to take all the bullets out of the gun.
Right? That's dangerous.
So my man Beast takes, like, they start emptying out all this. Just a cameraman still. Like, he can't even talk. I'm like, calm down. He's like, no, you can't do this. I'm like, it's going to be all right. Just give me a second. You watch. You want to see everything's coming out. We have to get the shot now. This is the last shot.
Yeah.
And so we got the shot in the end.
So we asked you what was your favorite era. What was your favorite moment in hip-hop? Was there ever one specific moment that, was like above and beyond, like, yes, so satisfying?
Well, we did Self-Destruction, and that was cool. I thought it was positive. Like, everybody was on the same page that day, KRS-One had really put the concept out there, and then, some really tough things that happened in hip-hop. Some people got hurt at concerts, and people getting their gold chain snatched and knocked out, and it was like, ho, we got to stop this. And that's how they all came together. And all of the hot artists at that particular time got on one record, which was it hasn't happened since that. I mean, you've had other versions of Self-Destruction, but you've never seen it like with the top artists. Like just, imagine if, Travis Scott and, A Boogie and Cardi and all of them got on one record all together and did something for a cause, That would be pretty awesome for this generation, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't know you shot the Self-Destruction video.
Right?
That's crazy.
I didn't know that either. I don't want to hold you, but I could talk to you forever. Like,
my
you
wife
got.
is looking for me.
I'm sorry,
I'm like, come on.
wifey. All right, we're gonna wrap
Sorry,
it up.
auntie.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You one of my favorite uncles. You know that.
Yes, like you're one of my favorite people, and then not intentionally, but you are, well, intentionally, you are my mentor. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, anybody could ask me, well, you know, who inspired you as far as like media? And you're the answer. It's nothing else. It's nothing beyond that. I remember, you know, watching you, and you're not supposed to be up and sneaking and stuff like that. I remember growing up and just in the anime, and just now that you're telling the stories, actually watching your work and not even realizing it was your work. So I mean, you shaped the culture in so many ways.
Well, people say I don't talk about what I did enough, so I dropped some jewels today. Like,
no, and I really appreciate it. Like, I'm so humbled that you're here, and thank you for coming to show and sitting in the chair with us. Yes. So we're gonna wrap it up. This was an amazing. I don't know what to say. I'm stuttering and shit. Like, I'm never lost for words. I always got something to say. But you know, today was really real. You know what I'm saying? I want to shout out to everybody who's streaming us right now. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and click that notification bell. You know, hip hop is the culture. It's always moving forward. You know, you have the new to the legendary, you know, and there's always something to learn from. And after speaking with Uncle Ruff, I hope that it could turn into a university. I hope that we could teach further generations, you know, beyond this, beyond today, about what happened yesterday and beyond. And I think that'll be so dope, you know. And you want to say anything?
I'm lost for words. I still can't believe.
Matter of fact, I think we should end with a shout out. I like to say,
shout out.
I did. I
need
another one. Shout out to DWI. Shout out to Times Square.
Yeah.
We out here doing it big. You see the couches and everything.
Yeah.
Check out my life. You're gonna see the Italian marble. It was really nice.
Well, I like you been somewhere before.
We got gourmet coffee and shit. You know what I'm saying? I wonder what kind of creamers they have. Yeah, and if you come up here, don't steal none of the glasses. All right, we classy now. We classy. All right, and
follow me at Video Music Box.
Yes, I'm
like, you have to say, like, come on, if you don't know,
you know what I'm saying. If you don't know, you must living under a rock, and shame on you. Like, real talk. And we up off this.
Yeah,
we up off this. Thank you.
Long.
Yes.